Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my vlog. I'm Chris. If you're not subscribed already, I appreciate it if you would subscribe. You like the videos if you like them. The channel's, Turbo Fox body stuff. So I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably found it because of something to do with that. But something I wanted to get into real quick. So I got my car running and been driving it just a little bit here and there, took it to a couple car shows. But what I noticed was the car just didn't feel like it has in the past. Like boost wise, this car made 15 pounds of boost. That's basically where I had it set at. Before I figured out that I had twisted up some axles and had to fix that. I had the car basically tuned in to where it made 16 pounds, 16 pounds. Felt really good. I mean, spooled so fast. It was unbelievable. So I took the car out now a couple times, and from the first time out, I took a friend of mine with me, and I could just tell, like, just barely getting in the car, it just didn't feel like it should, So I waited, and I took the car out late at night. It's where I wouldn't have to worry about a lot of traffic or anything, and did a couple boost pulls. And I have an electronic controller, so there's a gain and there's a duty cycle set, okay? And the duty cycle is how much boost you make. So it'll go like from 10 up to 100. And you increase that setting to make more boost, and the gain is how fast it makes it. So just to kind of give you a quick cut to it, like I remember back before the car, I twisted the axles in it, it was like in the 40s. This car would make 16 pounds, and the gain I had it turned down to like 30. Okay, so now fast forward to now, I take the car out and I had to have the gain all the way up to, or I'm sorry, the duty cycle all the way up to 80 to be able to get 13 pounds. And the gain, I had it cranked up to like 50 or 60, and it still didn't build boost real fast. So obviously, if the car builds boost but really doesn't feel like, it's either got to be a cold side leak or a hot side leak. So what I mean about hot side leak, your headers, your crossover pipe, your turbo mounting, all that stuff, okay? That all affects your the hot side, all right? So that's all the pre-exhaust, I guess, okay? After the downpipe, like out of the back of the turbo and your downpipe, that's not really going to affect your spool so much. I mean, it'll make it make different amounts of boost, but as far as like if you suddenly run into an issue and your car is not making the boost it was, then you've either got a cold side leak, which is the pressure side going into the engine, which is your intercooler or your piping, which anybody that's got a turbo car, if you blow a coupler off, you basically won't make anything, or like next to nothing, or you'll have a hot side leak. Okay, now depending on how big the hot side leak is, that's the peak boost number, all right? So obviously it had a hot side leak. So what I'm going to show you now is how you can find a hot side leak, all right? So the first thing you need to do is make sure that your car is cool, okay? Because obviously the exhaust being hot, it isn't going to work very well, because what we're going to use is a spray bottle and just some soapy water, like what you would use for finding a nail in a tire, or small leak in your tire at your home or whatever. And I'm going to show you how that works. So all right, so here it is. All right, just a spray bottle with some I think I just put a little Dawn dish soap and a little car wash soap in there just to kind of help it suds up some. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to spray. I can see, like, I took my blanket off. I'll show you. I took the blanket off of the turbo, and I can see the gasket pretty much except for the bottom side, and I kind of felt around it with my hand. And because I've blown the turbo gasket out before, it like gets super obvious. It'll make a lot of noise, unless it's leaking a small amount, which it could be. Or you'll have a header leak, okay? And something to kind of get to that, all right? I see it brought up a lot. A lot of people ask in forums and stuff about headers and how you seal your headers. Okay, so the biggest thing is don't bother using gaskets. I see people do it all the time, and I try to, you try to help people out. It's not going to work, guys, unless, like, if you get like a Remflex gasket, I guess I've seen people heard of people having success with that, but you don't need anything more than ultra copper RTV and some good bolts. And I use Proform locking header bolts and blue Loctite, which is medium strength. Now, Permatex also makes an orange Loctite that's high strength and still removable with wrenches. I would not use red Loctite, but whatever floats your boat. It's people have. There's not one way to do everything, guys. But what I want to try to do is help people. If this car's been turboed now for like 6 years, and I've tried a lot of things, and I've asked friends of mine that have done it, of how they do it and what they've had work and not. So what I'll try to do throughout this channel is just trying to help people out with things I've found that works and things I've found that don't work. So ultra copper Permatex RTV, depending on the thickness of your header flange, you're going to probably need at least a 1-inch locking bolt. So Proform locking header bolts with some blue Loctite. All right, so, yeah, header gasket's not going to work. So also orange RTV or copper RTV on the turbo flange, and I use the steel shim gasket with the copper RTV on each side. All right, and your crossover flanges, you may as well just go ahead. This has V-bands, but I'm going to tell you, just go ahead and make sure that you're putting copper RTV on that in the beginning. And the V-bands are it's just a real pain in the butt, guys. And I mean, I'm proof of it right here, because I know that these are leaking, and it's not my first time putting a turbo kit on, and they'll still come loose, they'll still leak. If you don't put them on just right, it's just the nature of it. They're going to leak. So you just kind of have to, as you're tightening those up, make sure everything's square, everything's clean, and start them both and tighten them down evenly. And as you're tightening it down, you got to tap on that clamp, that T-clamp, the V-band clamp, to keep it square on that flange, because I can tell on my driver's side one that mine isn't. It's off. And that's what kind of was the tip off in the beginning, that I knew that this had to be leaking. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead and we'll get right to it after we went over that, okay? Sorry, it's, a lot of this stuff's a lot of talking, but when I run into something like this, I kind of like to just try to help people, I'm sure a lot of people are watching this because they're wanting to put a turbo kit on their car, or they're running into an issue with their turbo kit. Something's going on, not working right, and they're trying to figure out what could be the problem. Everybody that has a turbo kit, or works on a car, period, everybody's gone through it. Something's going to break, especially Fox body stuff. It always breaks. So, okay, so what I do is you got your bottle and your soap, okay, and this is all cold. I just hammer the heck out of that with the soap. And I'm sorry that a lot of this is hard to see, but this one right here is the one that I suspected was leaking in the very beginning. Get down in there. And you can barely see it, guys, but what I'm trying to get to there is my gate, okay? There's a fire ring down there in that wastegate, and always make sure you put that in, or you're going to run into an issue. But it's just not going to cooperate very well, okay? Spray all that stuff down real good. See if I can get you down this way. There you can kind of see it. Right there. I didn't really want to focus in, is the only thing that's bad, but down there's the gate, so sorry you can't really see that, but okay. Now, what we're going to do is just start this up for a few minutes. Not even minutes, guys. Just we're talking seconds, but hopefully you guys could see that. There's some bubbles coming from the driver's side V-band, a little bit coming from the passenger side, but there's a lot of bubbles coming from the gate. So either that clamp's worked its way loose or it's leaking around the fire ring. So I'm going to go ahead and I just got to pull it all off there. Not everything, but the crossover is going to have to come off. And clean those flanges up. Probably have to either use a belt sander or file or a block with some heavy grit paper and square those up and just try to get that all fitting back right again. Like I said, as you tighten that clamp up, you just kind of, you start them, okay, you got to put a little, like I said earlier, little copper RTV around it on each face, okay. Try to get that clamp set on there square, and just as you tighten that clamp up, take a ball peen hammer or some kind of a small hammer with a little bit of weight, and you just tap, okay, around that, and just kind of try to center that. And you can tell there'll be a gap in that T-bolt clamp. Just kind of sight through that, and you can see, because that's how I could tell on mine that it wasn't perfect. It was off probably about an 1/8 of an inch. I can tell it's misaligned, and I could see the clamp was sitting a little crooked. So, but that's all I wanted to go over. Easy way to do it, and it's crazy too, guys, because I can hear like a slight tick out of this, but it's, to me, it's rocker noise. I mean, I can't really even hear a exhaust leak. So it's got a little bit at idle, but I think, you know, obviously at RPM, you know, this car 6,000 RPM, 6,500 RPM, the exhaust pressure is going to go up and it's going to leak more. So, and then heat, you know what I mean? Stuff expands, it's probably going to leak more. So I just wanted to give you a tip. If you're having a problem building boost, go over all your cold side piping, clamps, but if it seems like it's not spooling very fast or it's not building boost like it should, like, there's no excuse. I ought to be able to turn this car up to over 20 pounds, all right? And with my controller maxed out, this car, I don't even think I could get 15. I mean, and you know, it's just frustrating. I'll tell it to anybody. Like, I watch some videos, guys having problems with their car. It's going to happen, the stuff, especially when you go put in a turbo. Like, people think, you know, I want to put a turbo on my car, I want to put a turbo on my car. It's just a lot of work, guys. I mean, you got to be prepared, unless you got the money to pay somebody to do it. And I don't, you know, I do all this myself. Everything on this car I've done myself except for the transmission. It's the only thing I didn't build. I put it in myself. But other than that, I've turned every wrench on this car. And the exhaust, obviously, you know, I had somebody make me an exhaust. But other than that, you know, there's going to be maintenance. And this car worked perfectly fine 8-9 months ago, and now it's not. And all the car did for the last 6-7 months was set in my garage. So it's going to happen. Stuff's going to break. You got to be prepared to work on it. Got to be prepared to fix it. So, I'm just going to leave it with that. Thank everybody for watching. I really appreciate all you guys that are tuning into my channel and supporting me, especially, you know, everybody, but the guys that we try to support everybody. I think that's really great. So just kind of keep it up. Watch all the Fox Body channels you can if you like Fox Bodies. I'm sure that's why, you know, those are the channels I watch. So I got another video upgrade. You might have seen it when I was going by the car, because I haven't dropped that video yet, and it helped out a bunch. So we'll look for that, and we'll catch you next time. Later.